Welcome friends. In a series of electronic invoice where government has an objective to curb the tax evasions, where government has set for the GST one nation, one market, one tax, where in every transaction goods and service tax is levied on. This is how become an important part, an integral part for the business owner and the entrepreneur to look the GST. Now, goods and service tax is become an integral part for every business owner and the entrepreneurs. When you are pitching to a new customer, you would have a pricings, and your pricing you might be charged GST. GST become an integral part, and this is more important that you do not have a more tax. This is only one single uniform tax that you are charging on your business, and this is not to be called as a cost. How the beauty of the GST here is that eliminations of cascading effect of the taxations is providing the more opportunities to the business owner and the entrepreneur to run their business effectively and confidently, seeing to the customer that there is no any tax on tax. This is how the beautiful the manners of the goods and service tax. Now in electronic invoice, where the government has an objective to curb the tax evasion and increase the tax base, increase the tax liquidity base, where government has set the turnover of 20 crore. That means when the turnover of 20 crore of your business has been increased, then the electronic invoice would be applicable. 20 crore of the turnover when your business is, then you have to apply the electronic invoice. So electronic invoice for every business is not a compulsory right now. This is applicable to those entrepreneur and the business owner whose turnover is increasing the 20 crore of limits. Number one. Number second, that electronic invoice is not applying to every transactions. This is applying to the transactions who are covered under B2B or export. It means when you have export transactions, when you have the export activities and billing to the export clients. The number one, the B2B, and the second one is the export. So these are the two transactions, these are the two models, the business model where the GST is applicable. Number third, the exempted supply, the nil rated supply, the B2C supply, the other supply is completely out from the electronic invoice. You have to take in note that you will not apply the electronic invoice in B2C exempted, nil rated or other cases where you have to issue the bill of supply, not a tax invoice. Tax invoice would be applicable only on the B2B transactions and the export. Rest all the transactions would be covered under bill of supply. You might be issuing that the tax invoice, there is not a problem, but as per the rule you have to issue. There is no exempted supply, particularly the bill of supply would be covered. Exempted supply. When you have a B2C supply, you can also go for that, but there is no any problem. What you have to do here is that you have to make sure that in electronic invoice you are making the fulfillment of compliance what electronic invoice say, where the IRN number and QR code must be in your invoice, your debit note or your credit note. So these three documents, that is invoice, debit note and credit note, where IRN number and QR code is compulsory, so that your invoice or debit note and credit note cannot be called by your customer as an invalid documents. This is how the important in electronic invoice is. You have to take care of this. Beyond that, what you have to look here is that when you are going to file your returns, that means GSTR1, that you have to make sure that you are reconciling all those electronic invoice, non-electronic invoice, whatever the transactions you are completely reconciling and then you are filing. This is very important exercise. Otherwise, what happens that over the period of the time, you will find out more reconciliations problem, and might be you would have the notice or assessment that this transaction be covered under the electronic invoice, but you have not issuing the electronic invoice, and this document would be called as a invalid document. So you have to make sure that while you are issuing the transactions, issuing the invoices, you are fulfilling those compliance that is mandatory for the electronic invoice. This is how the important part here is. So for the entrepreneur and the business owner who are particularly in the small and medium sector, is required to make sure that you are abiding the electronic invoice law and norms and fulfilling the expectations. That is how it is important for you. Electronic invoice is one of the vehicles for the government to increase their tax base, to increase their revenue base. Please make a note and apply this to your business effectively and efficiently, and run your business smoothly. This is Hansing signing out. Until we meet again, thank you. Thank you very much.